I would like to talk to you a little bit about is navigating a branded approach to social media. So if we think about how we can be really positive and engaging presence on social media, it is also about carrying our brand to that. And we can do that without lots of money behind us. We can do it without, having to boost our posts or having to pay for advertisements or having to pay for influencers. If we sort of have a really strong brand and we're true to that across our social platforms, we can become a really positive presence on social media across all channels. Just make sure I have my notes. So the first things I do whenever I'm tasked with putting a post out on our social channel is I define our brand and I make sure that my post aligns with the brand. I also make sure I have a definitive objective. So what's my purpose? What am I trying to achieve? Who am I trying to talk to? So I need to identify my audience and then I plan my creative from that. So if we look at your brand, that's your personality. That's who you are on social media. And then your objective is your purpose. So again, why am I putting this out on social media? What am I hoping to achieve? Am I hoping to sell seats to an event? Am I hoping to gain connections to create communication, to collaborate with people in the community or with other businesses? And then from that, you also need to define your audience. So who am I hoping to communicate with? Who am I hoping to liaise with or to conduct business with? And then your approach. So your purpose and your target market will help define your creative. So that will help you determine what level of language you use, whether you use an emoji or who you're sort of speaking to. It also will help you define what image you use, your asset. So whether you use a still image or a video or a combination of the two, and how that all flows together so that the person that you are intending to reach stops from their newsfeed and has a look and interacts with that post. So what I also do to ensure that I stay true to this is I map out a plan, essentially. Every year or let's say every 6 months, I make sure that I have a strategy in place so that I know what my goals are, what I'm hoping to achieve, and how I'm going to do that. So I might look at the new features on social media. So I might look at the Reels feature that has recently been released on Instagram and how council might be able to effectively use that feature to communicate to people, but also making sure that it aligns with our brand and that we're creating meaningful content, so that we're not just posting on that sort of area because it's new and fresh and people are on there, but making sure that whatever content we are posting is has meaning, has a purpose, so that people know to trust our social media, that they know when they come to us they're actually going to get something out of it, and it's not just posting for the sake of posting. It's quality over quantity.
Do you want to hear something that might surprise you? If 77% of brands disappeared today, nobody would care. In parallel, 76% of people expect brands to contribute to their quality of life and well-being. Which means that beyond a brand's basic function, the real meaningful connection we feel with a brand goes much deeper. Brands actually play a role in our lives and in wider society. So what does a brand need to do to build these real meaningful connections? What it mustn't do is throw more hollow content and empty noise into our already cluttered and overloaded world. There are 6 roles to meaningful content: inspire, entertain, educate, help, inform, and reward. When music is played, it creates a powerful and meaningful connection with its audience, something brands should always aim to do. Here to tell us more about that is the legend, Nile Rodgers.
So deep hidden meaning is understanding a project's core essential truth. If I don't understand it, how can I possibly explain it to anyone else? It's important because I consider every project has a certain honesty that needs to be transmitted to a user. Once that honesty is understood and revealed, especially in an artistic way, it'll be nothing but beneficial to the consumer.
Building real connections with your audience through meaningful content really does work for brands. But don't take my word for it. Check out the stats. Let's continue to develop that meaningful connection and really make a difference.
You know, everyone I work with, I treat like family. We are family. I got all my sisters with me.
So if we take their advice, we want to make sure that all our content that we push out is meaningful and aligns with our brand. So we want to ensure that it either inspires, educates, entertains, helps, informs, or rewards. And that's what we try to do at Council. We use our social media as a two-way platform where we can directly liaise with our community, where we can ask for feedback and have people actually provide that for us, where we can go out to the community and ask for consultation or for advice, or so that we can then deliver projects and deliver messages that are aligned with what the community wants, with what you want. So I guess when you take that approach for yourself, you have to think about what your brand is about. What sort of messages do you want to distribute into the digital space, and how you can connect and create lasting and loyal relationships with your consumers or with your audience.
Can I just ask, when you say branding and how, what we just discussed, would you say with these posts in regards to Facebook that it would be more marketed, it would be more talking about marketing like the product or just the brand itself? So if we want to sell something in that sort of post, is that what you're relating that to? Is the actual sale of a product possibly in a post, or just how we're branding and what we're saying and putting out there?
So I think you can do both. So if I move across, so if you're trying to sell a product in your brand, you sell that product by aligning.
Ultimately, I can't put too much more information because it would just be boring to put it out.
Yeah. So you wouldn't necessarily.
Like something that we're actually selling.
Yeah. So in the post, you wouldn't necessarily say, my brand is this, and this is, and explain it, but you try use your collateral or your content to speak those words, sort of thing. So if you want your brand to say, I'm for, people of all races or people of all sizes, you show that in the content, in the photos, and so people know that your brand is inclusive of other people, and then you sell your product based on that. So you don't necessarily have to describe what your brand is, you just have to understand it in yourself and then develop your content, so the way you sell that product based on the language you would use for your brand. Does that make sense? So the other thing that we consider at Council is the different channels and the way in which we would present an idea in 4 different ways based on those channels. So we know that people come to us on Facebook for information, for entertainment, and for connection, to have that community feel. Similarly to Instagram, they come to us for a sensory experience. We use Instagram to really celebrate Lake Mac as a place. We use it to celebrate the people. And so we tend to reshare user-generated content. So we share other people's content so that we can celebrate Lake Mac as a community on a digital space. So, hey, I went fishing today, or I went skiing, or I surfed. We will share that to show this is what Lake Mac is, this is what we're about, and these are the people that we can celebrate in their sort of day-to-day lives or in their achievements. Whereas people come to us on Twitter for news and information, and on LinkedIn to network and to not necessarily conduct business, but to have a conversation about business and about industry. So to provide an example, this is one post that I presented on 4 different channels. So it was the same post, but I presented it in a different way on Facebook as I did to Instagram, as I did to Twitter and LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, I focused more on the initiative of business with business, so our partnership with Greater Bank to provide something for schools in Lake Mac. Whereas on Instagram, I'm speaking directly to parents or to teachers. Hey, does your school know about this initiative? You should check it out. And the similar thing on Facebook. While Facebook has a wider audience, not everyone on Facebook is a parent or is interested in schools. They might be interested in the initiative. Hey, look how great this is. Council's doing this for local schools. And then Twitter, it's quick, it's fast. You're limited to characters, so it's a newsworthy. You sort of get rid of all the fluff and you try to get to the point as soon as possible. So again, we just go back to you think about your purpose and what channel you're using, and then that will determine your tone and your language. So the tone and language that I use on Instagram wouldn't necessarily be the same as I use on LinkedIn. So Instagram, it's a lot more informal. It might be a little bit younger, or might try appeal to the younger target market on the younger demographic on that channel. Whereas on LinkedIn, it'll be a little bit more professional because I'm speaking directly to professionals about things that they are interested in. If you think about people who are on LinkedIn to sort of look at their career, to either advance their career or look at career opportunities, but also to sort of build themselves up. It's a little bit like their resume, whereas Facebook's more like somewhere you'd go for entertainment. So again, these are different channels and what our purposes are on these channels and what we do. So on Facebook, we want to immerse others on Instagram, we want to immerse others into our experience, so we use scenic, immersive photos and videos. We want to connect with people, so we use personal experiences. We want to illustrate our story because it's an image-based platform, so we use high-quality images and videos. You compare that to LinkedIn, where we're there to celebrate achievements. So we might tag people who work at council, so then all their mates and their colleagues can congratulate them, and so then it's a way for us to show recognition for people within our organisation, but as well for people outside the organisation to say, hey, this is council. They're not just one big organisation, they're made up of a group of individuals and they celebrate their successes. And we achieve all this, again, by implementing strategies and schedules. So another thing I would recommend you do is to have a look at, on Facebook, there's something called the Creator Studio, and you can schedule posts in there. So you don't always have to be on social media all the time. You might know that there's something upcoming, so then you can schedule a post to go out at a certain time. And you can do that on Instagram now, which is really exciting because you couldn't do it before. And it just makes life a little bit easier for you, because if you are time poor, then that's something you could dedicate a day to, just scheduling posts to go out at certain times, and then you can leave it and it'll just automatically generate. So something to help you with your creatives, to create your creatives, is Canva. It's a really great tool. It's got some really wonderful templates, and it's got it sort of has your dimensions that you require. If you think about different channels, they also have different dimensions. So on Instagram and Facebook, content in a square tends to be more engaging, whereas on Twitter and LinkedIn, it's more of a banner, a rectangular banner. And Canva consolidates all those different templates and stories and videos, and it is free, but then you can pay if you need to, but you get a lot out of the free version of it as well. And Quick is another one, but for video assets. So I think it's owned by GoPro, but you don't need to have a GoPro to sort of use that tool. I just use my phone. So you can, your phone I think that's a great asset to have, because you can just create content by simply clicking a shot of a photo or creating a video, and then you can consolidate all those shots and videos in Quick and create this really dynamic, great quick video. So to measure your success, so social media is very interesting because it's always changing. There's always something new and different happening. So there's no amazing formula. There's no great way of saying what's going to work and what's not going to work. So what I do, and what I would encourage you to do, is just to try new things and then refine it. So the way you can measure whether it was successful and whether to do something similar again to build on that success, or whether it needs to be refined and changed, is by looking at your insights. So your reach is the number of users who saw your post, your impressions is the number of times the post was seen, and the engagement is the number of times a user interacted with the post. So whether it was just people could have seen the post but they were just scrolling, but engagement is where they stopped and actually read what you were talking about or what you were trying to sell. And you measure that success based on your objective. So you go back to why are you on social media, what are you trying to achieve? So if you're just trying to have brand awareness, you just want people to know that you exist on social media, then you look at your reach and your impressions, because people they'll see you, oh yeah, that's cool, I see them. But then the more they see you, the more they start to identify with you. But we at Council look at our engaged users. So we look at, yes, we're on social media and we have some great followers, but how many of them are actually interacting with us? And that goes back to our objective, the reason why we're on social. And it's to have that communication, that two-way street of, we want to be active in the community, but we want the community to be able to trust us and to come to us on social media. And so we look at the number of engagements, our engagement rate, which is based on the number of engagements, the number of times someone stopped and interacted with our post, based on the number of times it was seen. So this is an action plan for you if you need one. So I encourage you to set out a social strategy which measures your insights so that you can continually improve and know which direction you need to go in. To create a content calendar, so that will map out what you're going to post and when, and to keep in mind that you don't necessarily need to post for the sake of it, but to always have a purpose to your post, so that you're creating engaging content, but also relatable content and necessary content, and that you're not just adding to the noise sort of thing, that you're standing out from the crowd. I also, with repetitive posts, I think it might not necessarily be the case anymore, but people, if they have a workshop and they're not getting the numbers they need, they might post the same thing over and over. I think it's best to sort of look at different ways that you can present the same workshop. So you might focus on different things and use a different image so that people aren't constantly being fed the same thing, they're being fed the same sort of message but in a different way. And then we'll just talk about Canva and using specific audiences. If you're tailoring your content towards specific audiences, you're going to get a more targeted approach and more targeted response. And that's it for me.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I look after all the social media for Charlestown Square. So today I just wanted to take you through firstly some quick social media snapshots. So currently 3.5 billion users in the world accessing social media, and 18 million users in Australia alone. So 91% of users are accessing social media via their mobile device, and the average user spends 3 hours a day on social media. So if any of you have the new iPhone, you can actually go into your settings and it tells you how long you spend each day on your phone and on social networking apps. And if you're anything like me, you probably don't want to look at that. It's quite alarming. So we want to look at today, top line, the top 10 reasons why businesses use social media. So firstly, to increase brand awareness. Secondly, we look to build relationships with our audiences. We want to improve our business discoverability. We want to, for those of you who have e-commerce stores or you're trying to direct people to your website, your social media becomes your avenue to increase your website traffic. We can gain valuable customer data through insight and analytics. We can measure our statistics. So often if we put a billboard out somewhere, we can't actually measure how many people are engaging with that billboard, but social media gives us that avenue to be able to look at those statistics and look how successful our campaigns are. It's often free or at a low to minimum cost, and we can manage our own PR by managing our own social media, and we manage how our brand looks to our customers. It enables us to communicate with our customers and it enables our audience to find us easy or find out more information. So I'd kind of look at it like the new Yellow Pages. Not even sure if that's still in circulation. So today I want to take you through 4 main social media concepts. So the first one being authenticity, the second one, understanding your customer, thirdly, your brand identity, and 4, your content strategy. So firstly, authenticity. So I wanted to share this data about how consumers actually interact with brands or businesses via social media. So 1/3 of Australians have said that they will research a product on social media before making a purchase. 40% of consumers expect brands or businesses to respond within 1 hour of contacting them via social media. And 82% of Australian consumers follow brands to access discounts and giveaways, while 91% of users prefer brands to be authentic with their social media content. So, unfortunately, consumer trust in brands and businesses are at an all-time low, and I think social media has a lot to answer for that. So there's businesses out there that are paying for followers, they're paying for likes, we're being flooded with social content, and it's also the age of the influencer where everyone is trying to sell us something. So we really need, as businesses and as brands, to try and cut through and understand how we can remain authentic and how we can actually get our consumers to trust us and not just be to be another business who's selling them products. So real content. So if people are looking at brands they can trust, how, as marketers and business owners in the room today, can we get the public to trust us? So call it the Celeste Barber effect here, but the days of perfectly curated content are over. So people want to see the real, the raw, when they're looking through social media. So there's an importance of capturing authentic, everyday moments, and that's why Instagram stories are becoming really popular also. So you don't need to post everything on your feed. You can refer to Instagram stories. People love seeing behind the scenes of your business. Maybe you're capturing your staff and writing a little piece about them. So they're all the things that make consumers trust you and make people understand that you're an authentic business. So we also need to ensure that sometimes we're skipping the call to action. So not every post needs to be a buy now or visit the website. Some of our posts can just be us simply communicating and engaging with our audience. And we also need to remember to remain transparent and honest with our customers at all times. So speaking of being honest and transparent, there's never been a better time than this year during COVID. So back in March, Charlestown Square became one of the first businesses in the Hunter to have a confirmed case of COVID-19 in our centre. So we were faced with the challenge of, we needed to be honest and we needed to be transparent with our customers, and we had a place in the community also that we needed to communicate this message. So social media gave us this avenue to do so and to directly communicate with our customers. So we posted this post. As you can see up the top, organically it reached over 248,000 people, and just shy of 63,000 people engaged with that post. So you can probably have a look at some of the comments on the screen. Did we get backlash? Absolutely. It was scary as all hell, but would we do it again? Yes, because being a pillar of the community, we need customers to trust us. If they don't trust us, if we're not communicating openly and honestly, how can they visit our centre and buy from our brand? So in this post, we tried to give them as much information as possible, tell them where the active case is, and then tell them what we were going to do moving forward. So our next section is knowing your customer. So important to any marketing strategy is understanding who your customer is, and that's no different on social media. So at Charlestown, we're very blessed to be able to use credit card data to define who our customer is. So we've got 4 customer groups here. So we've got our neighbours with kids, our ageing comfortably, our prosperous families, and our up and coming. But I suggest for you all today is to walk away and really have an understanding about who your customer is, because as a business you can't be everything to everyone. And really nutting down who your customer is, who you're targeting will really help in developing your social media strategy. So I would also suggest that when understanding your customer, if you are already posting on socials or you're about to get started, it's really important to put a local lens on your social media strategy. So particularly for anyone in the room who might run a franchise or have a national chain overarching their business, it's easy to sometimes just push out content that you're getting from a national level, but how do we relate that to our customers and our consumers? So a localization strategy makes brands appear more customer focused, and it encourages engagement. So if consumers see something that they recognise, they're more likely to engage with that content. And often it's best to talk about what's happening in our area, piggybacking off local trends, local events. So that's something we try to do at Charlestown Square. And now on to brand identity. So this one's a funny one, and it hasn't always been an easy road for Charlestown Square. So around 2 years ago there became increasing competition in the shopping centre market, and our retailers started to become duplicated across other shopping centres. So not only were our retailers duplicated, but our marketing and our social media started to look the same, and we almost became clones of each other. So as you can see, it's quite hard to define which one's Charlestown Square and which one is Westfield Kotara. So it became evident to us that nothing really stood us apart from our competitors. So if you were scrolling through socials and you came across an image from Charlestown Square, how do you know that that's Charlestown Square without reading the caption? So we had some challenges, and one of our biggest challenges is representing our own brand while also representing 240 brands that we house at Charlestown Square. So that's 240 brand identities, tones of voices, and visual look and feels that we needed to account for. So we had to ask ourselves, how do we represent these brands, but how do we let our own brand identity shine through and engage with our customers? So here's what we learnt. We gained some help from some experts in the field along the way, and we came up with some pretty core values that we could use on our social media. So ensuring that we remained consistent was one of our main ones. So including the same logo, the same colour palette, and the same bio across our social platforms, from Facebook to Instagram to our email scheduling. So people could easily see our brand and notice our brand in a lineup. We identified our own brand colours and fonts. We used little corner pieces on our promotional content and our own event content to separate our content away from our retailers. And importantly, we started creating our own content. So we currently do seasonal photo shoots where we have a stylist and a photographer and models, and we create our own content. So that way no one can duplicate us. We're not sharing the same content as other shopping centres. And we established our brand tone of voice. So I would encourage you all today, just because you are a brand or a business, that doesn't mean that your brand can't have its own personality. And social media is a great avenue to really portray that personality and for you to find your voice on socials. So we even went as far as actually mapping out our do's and don'ts. So up the top you've got what we would say on socials, and down the bottom is what we wouldn't say. So Senna is committed to being an integral part of, exciting part of social fabric of the community. Sorry, I can't see that from there. But that's very formal. It's something that we wouldn't post on socials. So instead, we'd say we're loving watching local artist Brett Peever's work come to life. It's conversational, people want to engage with us, they're not reading a corporate strategy. So part of the journey of identifying our brand was recognising that our new dining precinct, the corner, needed to sit separate to Charlestown Square. So in doing so, we realised that the corner has its own brand identity, and it's a precinct that has become a celebration of food and music and art, and it's about being an instigator in the community and not so much a collaborator, which is where Charlestown Square sits. It elevates the individuals and their talents, it has its own tone of voice, and it targets different customers to Charlestown Square, but we leverage off each other. So that was really important for us to have that brand sitting separate. So finally, let's explore content. So establishing content pillars has been key to our success on social media. So a content pillar is a subset of topics or themes which create the foundation of your overall content strategy. So chances are, in the back of your mind, you probably already have your content pillars and what you want to talk to your customers about. It's just about putting them on paper. So examples, if you're a business in Lake Mac, your content pillars might include information about your location, your team and behind the scenes, the product you might be selling. If you're a restaurant, perhaps there's links to your booking systems, and your surrounding area is a really important one. So don't be afraid to capture the little cafe next door that you get your coffee from every morning and leverage off them. Your brand and your brand story, and also really important to be capturing customers' reviews or testimonials about your business. So for Charlestown Square, we've identified our content pillars here. So we've got our retailer support function, our community function. We like to capture food and fashion. We like to capture our events and what's happening in centre, our promotions, and we love sharing local images of via Lakes Mac's Instagram, repurposing their content, and giveaways. So giveaways have been huge for us. The giveaway on the bottom here was we teamed up with our retailer Sephora to give away product. In that giveaway we had over 4,500 comments, and it reached just over 22,000 people, I think. So our followers increased 11% in just 1 week by posting that giveaway. So don't underestimate giving away things. Obviously you don't want to do them too often, but they're a great way to grow your audience and engage with customers. But you just want to be a little bit careful. So this brand here out of California, Sunny Co Clothing. So they promised everyone who reposted this image of this girl in this red bikini a free bikini for reposting and tagging them. What happened? So within 24 hours, they had over 3,500 people repost that image, and they did not have 3,500 red bikinis in stock. So they had to shut down the promotion and communicate with everyone that had entered that they could no longer enter, there was no bikini for them. So this was a brand new business, so really not a great way to start your business. And the outrage that ensued on social media, it got a lot of media coverage, that's for sure. But I guess the point is, if you're giving away free coffees for a whole day, make sure you have enough coffee to give away for the whole day. So don't overpromise and underdeliver when you are looking at your giveaways. So lastly, staying true to being authentic is having something meaningful to say. So I think Jen touched on that before. But we quite often look at our insights and look at how customers are engaging with us. And sorry, it's a little bit small on the screen. But you can see Charlestown Square here on the left, and then our two main shopping centre competitors that I've blanked out on the right side here. But you can see that our competitors, if we go down to content in total media posted, they are posting a lot more frequently than we are. However, if you drop down to engagement and our average engagement rate, our engagement rate is 2.45%, where our main competitor's engagement rate is 0.5%. So our customers are 390% more engaged with us than our competitors based on our social media, even though we are posting less than them. So it's definitely quality over quantity. So to summarise, ensuring you remain authentic to your brand and your business, knowing your customer, having a strong sense of brand identity and really letting that shine through, and having strong content pillars and understanding your content, then you're on the road to success. So thank you.